somebody does a brilliant sort of bicycle kick to put it in the back of the net.
Jude
And
Bellingham.
then they scored in the first minute of extra time. And then it was dreadful after that because they sat on the.
Well, that was brilliant enough for bicycle kick that it made it to our news tonight, Andy.
It did it?
Yeah, I saw it on Channel 9 News.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I just read the headline that England just sort of barely scraped through, and then I read about it, so I went straight to YouTube. Pretty impressive. But it does seem like English football teams in particular are never quite the sum of their parts, whereas a lot of other teams, the team is more than the sum of its parts. But English teams always go, because you've got heaps of really good players right now, but you seem to get together and play rubbish. But you're alive, so you could still win it.
Yeah.
It was only last week Andy was saying how crap the English team were.
Well, they've got like the individual, like Jude Bellingham. He's just about the best player in the world. Oh, you know, if he's not now, he will be, and he's only 21. He's a gun, and you know, England have got a whole bunch of other really good midfielders, attackers. Still got Harry Kane up forward. He's a great striker. So, you know, on paper, fantastic team, but the games aren't played on paper. That's the only problem.
It's a good drive to start off, Andy.
It was a very good drive.
But I taught overseas as an English teacher with a lot of English colleagues, and I still remember the feeling. We went to several World Cups. Well, when I say we went to the pubs, you know, when England were playing big games in several World Cups and Euros. And it'd always be, you know, such high hopes, everyone going in there and everyone whistling, you know, the theme to The Great Escape and all that kind of stuff. And then it just, the number of times it literally ended in tears, just bloody unbelievable.
Yeah. Oh, you've fallen foul of the tight fairways.
I have. Well, it's on the path. We'll see whether that's
It might be okay for you down there.
Sometimes there's no power loss on path, and no spin loss, no anything. But it didn't say. We'll find out.
That looks good.
It does.
Or is it gonna? No, it is good.
He's going to crack it out ripping you here, Andy.
He's gonna outdrive me.
No, I'm not.
No. Go on. Well, you're close to the
Oh, 1 yard.
Right, nothing in it. No, I have got 8% power loss and 49% spin loss, so I guess I can't rely on backspin. Oh, yes, Bill, I'll just invite you.
Well,
Yeah, young Dave was offline.
Yep, no worries. All right, I've just allowed you.
Oh, there he is.
Well, I almost hit. Oh, Jesus Christ! I almost twice. Okay, that's better. I almost hit the ball half an inch then because the player lost context when Phil asked to join the game, but it's all good.
I think you discombobulated a bit. Sounds it.
Was.
Ooh, gee, that was a weird view.
Yeah, didn't follow the ball and went low. Didn't carry very far.
51-12.
Oh shit, it's a par 4 too. Oh yeah, I'm still okay.
Looking good.
Pretty nice.
Coming back.
It's
I'm
not
sensing,
bad.
I'm sensing more non-flat greens, Andy.
Yeah, well, let's face it, we had plenty of practice at what it was like with non-flat greens last week.
Yeah.
I noticed you're saying non-flat greens. Is that because you've given up on the word undulating?
Well, I was just copying what the man from Melbourne was saying there. I thought if it was good enough for him, he sounded as if he knew what he was talking about. So I just copied Phil, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I never learnt the word undulating, Phil. So there's a,
Yeah, I think we should use that word from now on.
Yeah, well, it's for me, it's always confusing because you say undulating, and that makes it sound like there are no hills, but it actually means that there are hills.
yes, there's
Okay, that was a recovery, Dave.
Yeah, I'm happy with the par.
I've noticed a trend in AFL commentary, and it's of epidemic proportion, where commentators they've mixed up overestimate and underestimate, and they consistently say the value of that player.
Oh,
The value of that player to the team cannot be underestimated. And I'm going, you're saying the wrong thing. They just keep doing it.
Naught, 2. Oh, this is a 2, 1. Okay, there's a bit of right to left going on here. God, a bit.
Wow, that just hard left instantly.
Yeah, well, the one thing I didn't want to do was instantly 3 putt on the first green after smacking the ball 341 yards.
Yeah, it would have been an annoying bogey.
Okay. Right, where are we at now? Ooh, wow. This is another. Oh God.
there seems to be some real course management here, I think.
Yeah.
Don't think you can just blaze off the tee.
Is that too much? Yes, it is too much.
Yeah.
It's only 136 though.
Hmm. Gently. I think that's too far left, or we close.
Will it be close? Oh, you've got it though. It's the perfect place to be. Good
Now.
shot. Very nice.
Impressive.
Oh, I'm not sure whether I like that line. No, I don't.
No, I don't like it either.
That's going to be a bit further out. Wow, that's going to be quite a long shot. At 56 feet uphill, it's hard to get the loft.
Yeah.
Bit of a rough.
Guess in my favour it's only 10% power loss, but still. What's that? 190. Oh dear. I got no chance.
Talk about a wood.
1,
But
6%.
now,
Oh,
yeah, it's too much.
this is horrible.
Yes, I'm afraid for the next. Oh, it's raining now. Oh, that's good. Means the garden's going to get a good water. But
I'm happy with
That's
that.
genius.
it's a
That
great.
is genius.
Stay up on that level.
I'd say shot of the night, but it's not a very big compliment at this point.
I was going to say the 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 coverage starts on centre court and number 1 court at I think 1:30 this afternoon. So there's some pretty good matches. I think it's Alcaraz on first, Raducanu on second, and then we'll probably switch over to seeing Yannick Sinner on number 1 court. So we've got, well, 4 or 5 hours easily of good tennis, hopefully, to watch.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be a bit of a couch potato, to be honest, and I don't mind it raining on days like today.
You can go full Bella.
Do you sort of do you pay full attention, or is it just sort of going while you're kind of there and like you might be having conversations doing other stuff?
A bit of both, but if it's a really good game where there's a person I'm really interested in, or if it gets a close game, then virtually every shot I'm totally absorbed in the thing.
Yeah.
More so than football. Football I find just tedious these days, by and large.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Come
Well,
on.
tennis is unless it's the French Open or on clay anywhere, you have to go for it, don't you? If
Yeah.
you're going to be good, and even on clay, you've got to hit the bejesus out of the ball, but
Yeah.
it seems to be very defensive.
Well, that worked okay.
That's fantastic.
Very
Go
good.
for it.
Oh.
Oh, you're not going to stop waving the pole and just hit the ball. I can see what it's doing, even though the pole isn't helping much. So,
Oh my god.
you see another not flat putt, Dave.
Oh my god, indeed. Fuck.
Well, it could be worse, Dave. I think compared to the course we played last Thursday, we had much more difficult putts by and large. It was steeper as well. Come on, just pull yourself together, man. It's not.
Need a few more Wheaties.
Good. No harm done. You got your birdie. Oh, this looks flat. It was.
Oh, one thing I really liked about the EA golf game, you can set the fairways and the rough to be separate types of resistance. And if you set the fairways to tournament speed, they are stimp 15. They run like St Andrews on one of those days when the course has been baked by the sun 6 days in a row. And also the greens, stimp 15. They feel like, which I really like.
Can you save rounds?
Don't know, haven't got that far. But you can do mulligans, so that's what I'm doing. Just playing what they describe as a casual round, and I'm hitting shots, and if it doesn't work, I just hit B and have the shot again. And I'm trying to learn how to use the clubs and how the physics that way. And it's quite good because it's probably better than perfect golf in its own way. It's a bit quicker and easier. And you can turn off all the GUI and the annoying commentary and all those sort of things. It's pretty lean and mean looking when you turn off all the fluff.
Yeah.
And it's got 11 courses that they play. Well, some of them are major courses, I suppose, but really good courses that I've never seen before. So I'm looking forward to playing all those as well. I think it comes with 31 courses to start.
Right, so it does. So where does the 11 come in? You said 11 courses.
Yeah, there's 31 courses, but 11 of them we don't have in perfect golf.
Oh, right. I understand now. And what's the method of control? Is it click or is it a mouse?
Sticking point number 2. There's no mouse swing. It's just
Right.
It's just the click thing. Similar to what we had in.
Jesus.
Yeah, but it feels sort of semi-intuitive, but it's not too easy and not too hard. It feels about right. You know, it wasn't upsetting or annoying to use. Can't chip to save my life. It seems unintuitive, but I'm sure there's a method because I know there's people out there shooting 10-unders.
Now, have you got the HB Studios game as well, Dave?
No?
It's it's the one that's got an RTS swing, but it's just not very nice at all.
Well, you've just sold me into not bothering. I mean, I could see myself living with a click game if that's all there was, but without the turn-based multiplayer, it's useless.
Yeah.
That's really the biggest sticking point. Yeah, I'll be right.
Certainly was.
Now, I thought they was thinking about running back down for a second.
Okay, well. So far, we mirrored. Our scores have been identical.
You want me to catch that on your scores?
although I had this course in my downloads, I couldn't remember playing it. Oh, good putt.
Might have gone, Dave.
Just have to hit it.
Got 1, 2, 2. There's a little bit of, or is there? There's a tiny bit of movement, not much.
It was tiny indeed.
It was half the amount of break. There's a cat thumping about in here, I think. Or is it my coat? No, that's what it was.
I can't see much in this, maybe just a whiff of right to left. That makes it look left to right. Crap. Well, since they both views are diametrically opposite, I'm just going to go inside left edge.
Well done.
Probably lucky it hit the hole. I think it might have gone down. That's
I was going to say it was travelling.
it was gone.
Oh my god!
What happened?
Did you see that come off the side of the club?
I did see it come
I
off the side of the club.
That is weird.
Wow. I don't really know what happened then.
Oh, it was like North Melbourne trying to kick a winning goal, Dave.
Jesus.
Twisting the knife.
Got to kick him while he's down.
You can't talk. Neither of you two can talk.
Well, my bitterness drove the whole exchange, Dave, after what happened to Melbourne on the weekend.
Yes,
Oh,
you
yeah.
shouldn't take pages out of North Melbourne's book, that's for sure.
Yeah, we did take a page out of your bloody book, and I wish we had.
So
What?
what have I done? I'm still.
I know there's obviously something going on here about the AFC game you talked about on Friday. I take it did not go well for you, your team, Dave.
Andy, it was unbelievable. We had the game pretty much sewn up, I thought, and we lost.
Yeah, I was watching that, and I watched it live, and I turned to Wallaluk, and I said, Dave's not going to enjoy watching this one. Because, yeah, it's just another gut-wrenching defeat, isn't it?
Oh, it was. I mean, the way we go about losing. Like Finch had a certain goal that he didn't get, and
You just kept having those, like, pretty, like, gettable snaps from 30, 40 metres out directly in front. You must have had 3 of them.
Yeah.
And you just, any other day, any one of those plays would easily get that as a goal. But they all just kept missing.
It just feels like a bad movie script.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know.
Well, all our teams have had their share of punishment this year.
Well, definitely. Richmond are we're doing our utmost to try to look as though we're trying, while actually hoping to lose and get a really good draft hand. That's my take on it.
It's a good. North are trying the same thing.
Yeah, and I've looked at like North. They've almost won a few times to put us bottom of the ladder, which would be incredible. But West Coast are only 1 game ahead of us, so I think at worst we're going to be pick number 3. But unless we go nuts and put some sort of winning streak together.
Yeah. Well,
So,
North are better at snatching defeat from the jaws of victory than you are.
well, they beat West Coast last year, didn't they? To miss out on Harley Reid.
Maybe.
Following
Yeah, I
game
think you're right, actually.
Good choice. Yeah. Unbelievable. But yeah, I don't know what to say. It's just going to be a punishing year.
Yeah. Well, where I looked at the draw. Richmond, there's about 7 or 8 games go. Richmond's got 4 that look like we're no chance. But then we play. I think the last 4 games are something like Hawthorn, North Melbourne, St Kilda, and Suns. And I'm thinking, ooh, that's nasty. We could win some of those.
Yeah, you never know.
No, bye-bye ball.
Bye, baby.
Wow.
Wow, indeed.
Who'd have thunk that we'd reference Bay City Rollers on this particular round?
Well, we were doing it last. Monday. Plenty of time.
Okay.
You weren't just referencing it; we were singing it.
Oh, look at this. Oh, come on.
Been cruelly treated on the last 2 greens, Dave.
Oh, I deserved it.
Andy's strategy of mentioning we were scoring the same on every hole worked better. Stopped straight away.
All of a sudden, you've gone berserk.
And this one, even though it seems feels doable. And
Doable. Just you fell foul of the uphill putt, requiring less weight.
I know I didn't take enough. As soon as I hit it, I knew it. Rubs it in.
J'accuse.
So, Phil, you've been watching alternately either me or Uncle Dave over the last month or 2.
Yep.
Are our pole waving techniques the same or different?
Quite similar. But medium Dave, young Dave, I don't know what Dave... Anyway, he waves his pole a lot faster. So when you wave it, I can generally pick up what's going on. But Dave, he just flying all over the green. It's like a whirl.
And the way we interpret what we're seeing is different, Dave, I'm sure.
Well, maybe your brain processes faster than mine does.
But actually, where you place it, it's quite similar.
Okay. Yeah,
You were a bit greedy there, Dave, were you?
I did try and I went the Tiger line and I paid the price, but I'm only 80 yards out. I'm not too upset.
Well, that's what you call in the middle of the fairway.
That is the middle of the middle. Very nice.
It's a nice looking golf course.
But lots of elevation changes.
It's undulating.
It's not flat.
That's right.
Well, I've got another word maybe we should start using as well. Can we start using the word dulating?
Well, that's a bit like saying, "Can I be gruntled?"
I like that.
That looks gorgeous.
Good.
All right.
Spins. It
Look
has.
at this. Shot, Dave.
So,
That looks doable.
Has this course got elevation, by the way?
I didn't check. Andy picked it. Oh no.
Question is,
Oh, what a shot! Oh,
well, I've got an uphill putt, which I'm quite pleased about. Amana Colonies, sea level. Right, well, we've got 2 downhill, 1 maybe a bit of side hill. I'm just hoping this is relatively flat. Okay, this is relatively flat with a tiny bit of left to right. Oh, got it right.
Wow.
very good.
Perfect. I can't believe it. I thought this was going to be a huge break, but it seems flat. Like completely flat. I can't see any break at all.
Wow.
I mean, I thought this was going to be a foot right to left.
See not?
The poll told the truth.
Well, I reckon there's a little bit of right to left, but not much.
But
Or
it
or
does
nothing.
seem, it does seem as though this designer has done a reasonable job in placing most of the pins we've seen in the 5 holes so far. If you get it close enough, you're going to have a makeable putt.
Yeah. And you get rewarded as you should.
It's another reachable par 5, yes.
That's about the tightest line you can take.
Well, I'm probably going to put a jinx on this, but I've actually been hitting the ball right down the middle tonight most of the time. I think I've run out of fairway once, and that's been it.
Well, as I say, you've just put the end to that.
Yeah, I know. I'll miss the next 3 or 4 fairways.
Also good.
Surely it can't have anything to do with whether one hosts or not.
How
I'm
can
sure.
it? No, it can't. I'm sure it can.
That's a nice position.
Yeah. Nice flops. Flop. Oh, do I go for this?
Well, only the world's worst wimp wouldn't go for it.
Are you calling me yellow?
No, Dave, I know you're going to go for it.
You know, of course you do.
It's a good line. There you go. Absolutely no problem whatsoever.
Nice shot.
Very good.
Come on.
An even better looking line.
Superb.
Just a bit strong.
Wow, what a great line though. It was perfect. It's probably the most difficult shot now though.
Well, it's confidence surging through my veins. I feel as though I'm hitting the ball straight for once. I don't know how and I don't know why. It's a great shot.
So,
So you didn't have any sort of epiphany, Andy, because your driving is definitely, and your approach shots are twice as good as they were a week ago.
Yeah, well, I haven't spent any time on any practice fairway at all.
That's the thing.
But when I loaded the course up just before I just wanted to have a quick look at it. I don't know which hole it was I loaded up, but I was all over the place. But when I actually looked down at what I was doing with the mouse,
will it? It will.
Great.
Wow.
Very good.
Yeah, when I looked at the mouse, it was certainly wasn't anything like square on to start with. So it just made me sort of think, right, just sort of get yourselves set up right, sort of physically in the chair.
Yeah, it's so easy to drift off your base position, get distracted or upset, and bang. What?
Oh,
Nice chip.
Unlucky.
Right.
So I just noticed you're 5 under. You're 5 under after 6 holes.
He's almost got me busted after 6 holes. Almost.
Wow.
Yeah.
Again, I think a couple of weeks ago, I might have had Dave and busted after 4 holes.
I think it was three holes I was in busted.
It wasn't good, whatever it was.
I was going for the record. Right, so this hole got an intransigent fairway.
an intransigent fairway. What's one of them when it's at home?
A non-cooperative one, Andy.
Right.
They have to fade the ball into it so it holds.
Ah, right. Okay. Three, 3-2, 56, 279.
Also, don't try and say intransigent when you're drunk. It's a really hard word.
There's another straight one.
Yeah, that's
Right. The only problem was I did mean to go down to the 3-wood. Don't know why I didn't go down to the 3-wood. I thought I had, but maybe I hadn't.
Backspin's not a problem for either of us now.
No.
Get off that.
You have. Oh, it's a disgrace.
Absolutely it is.
It's worked out pretty well.
Not enough.
Oh, so much for me opening my gob about. It's amazing how we've had identical scores. That was after about 3 holes, or we were on fourth, and then ever since then it's gone absolutely anything but the same.
Yeah, you really put the knocker on that, Andy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, Dave gets the free read.
Unless
Yes.
unless Andy does the sensible thing.
Correct. Putts off that green.
Yes.
Turn 180 degrees, Andy, and just fucking hammer away.
Oh. Oh, how tempting that is! Just one day, just have a gimme set, right, without telling anybody, right, and then just do that, just to see what happens. Five,
Oh.
3, 1 not.
I want to see Uncle Dave be a real caddy at Augusta for a professional. Give that advice. All right.
I hope that gave you some source information to use in your.
It gave me so much source
Desperation.
information, Andy. I'm not even going to wave the poll. I'm just going to line up the ball based on what yours did. It's
Oh,
better
that's
information watching a ball roll.
confidence is oozing through this man's putter at the moment.
Good attack. All right. Let's go on.
Here he goes. He's underdone it, I think.
Oh,
Close.
Good putt.
Good.
the end. No harm, no foul on this hole.
The status quo has been remain is the same.
Yeah, except there's a little midge in the gaming room, and it flies in front of the monitor, taunting me. And then as soon as it's outside range of the monitor, I can't see it against the black walls, so I can't get it. And I almost knocked over my beer trying to spot it.
Yeah.
If that happens, my game will go to shit.
It's the black walls have come back to bite you, Dave.
They have. God, there's not many spiders in this
In
apartment.
fact, if your avatar player was in that room, you wouldn't be able to see him at all.
Correct. just going to shut down where my mind went for follow-up jokes. In case that channel gets banned.
It's going to be a juicy putt.
Clearly, we know something about this hole that you don't, Dave. So come and join us over to the left. It's pretty good.
Sure. Looks like a good spot to be. Or not.
Possibly fine.
Pretty
Might
good.
just miss.
Ooh,
But it's an uphill chip. That's
Well,
highly doable.
it is. It's puttable if he wants to. Jeez. Oh, damn it. Okay. Just try and get this.
You've left some work.
That was almost a full 32-yard flop, and it only went 42 feet in the air. I must have mishit it.
Right. 39. Come on, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Nice.
Wow, didn't it keep going? Nicely worked out. I thought that was going to be 10 feet short.
So did I at the start. That's why I was getting the brushes, you know, like curling.
Curling. The Matthias side on greens.
It's a nice putt.
It's a great putt.
Good work.
Oh, the putter working today nicely, Dave.
It is. That one was a pretty easy read. It was one of those ones where it was very consistent break.
There's another one where the green is elevated higher than the fairway.
I'm very common thing tonight. There. This. Oh, too much. Is it too much? Okay.
It's another straight one.
Perfect.
Lovely.
You all in the poems contest, Dave.
It's going to have to be, mate.
Okay. Let's see. Nothing. Six. That's the heavy. That. Okay. All righty.
Oh, you've got a nice little downhill putt there awaiting you, Dave.
Extra greasy, Andy.
Yes. The greasometer is almost all the way up to the top.
It's grease 15.
Mm. That might be a better shot, though. Good shot, Dave.
It's going to be slippery.
Well, I'm going to have to contend with backspin here.
Yeah, I think it's just a tricky pin, this one.
Yeah. I didn't really want to take the 105 club, because otherwise I'd have been quite easy to end where you were, Dave.
Yeah.
I really didn't want that.
Yeah. I accidentally hit my 105 full. I meant to chop it about 10%.
43. 43. Not a million miles away.
It was good. Oh.
What beautiful. What do I want to do here? Oh, it goes berserk. Wow, it's going to be out here somewhere. Even more.
place.
Good. Very good.
No. Idiot.
Well done. Little bit of left to right in that, Dave.
Yes.
Is anyone getting echo tonight?
Not yet. Occasionally it does, and then it goes away. It's really hard to work out exactly what it is.
Yeah. It always has been hard to work out. Oh, another very challenging drive. Wow.
God, if you've hit that fairway, that's outrageous, really, going for that.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
And if I'd gone another 3 yards right, I'd have had overhanging branch trouble.
I'm not displeased with that. Won't get into that stuff. That's good.
That's actually a very good angle in. Just don't want to go much further left. Where the danger is.
Hey, my game just died.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah, no, it's gone.
yeah, it has.
Wow. Okay.
Disconnect.
I'll
What do we do now?
Well, I should just.
Yeah, we just sit here and Dave will reconnect.
Yeah, I should just reconnect. I just had aimed, and I got the spinning wheel,
Yep.
and then yeah, the game disappeared.
Unusual.
Well, hopefully, when you go back into it, it'll give you a chance to reconnect and take you back to the 10th tee.
This is a bit of a worry. I'm trying to connect to Dave. Oh no, hang on. Dave wasn't hosting, you were.
No wonder you can't connect.
I'm sitting there going, no, it's not connecting. That's
Oh,
better.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's back.
He is back and he's on the 10th tee. Loading. Yep, he's got the driver in his hand.
You've gone the tiger line.
I've missed.
Yeah, but it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that angle. It's a better angle in than I've got.
I've got this stupid golf ball that's hovering in front of my player. Okay. Let's look.
Well, if you've got a big ball, Dave, then I'm afraid we're going to have to penalise you for playing non-regulation equipment. Well, in spite of all those shenanigans, that looks pretty good.
No bite, but that'll do.
Right. I can see I'm going to have to take advantage of the spin I'm going to get. Bring it, go past the pin, back, but not too much. Not sideways.
Okay, right. Ah,
Oh,
no.
unlucky.
That was unlucky getting backspin out of that rough.
Yeah, the only problem was the second bounce was
It's
then
right on
almost
uphill.
up.
Right smack bang in the middle of that uphill. Yeah. But
Matters
It doesn't
not.
matter.
wow.
It's never going to miss.
Stock standard birdie. Well done, Andy.
Yeah, bog standard. Oh, we've had fun and games on this. Oh. Is it? It is.
Hey,
But,
absolutely dead straight. That makes me think mine
Well,
went.
Yours is
Well,
dead
yeah.
straight too, Dave.
It is. I don't even need to do any more pole waving. Hit the ball the correct amount of pace.
well, you were right. Yeah. 3 birdies. Who would have thought it?
Not many people.
This is another birdie opportunity. Well, you did very well there, Dave, because I thought I would get one back on you unexpectedly, but not to be. I'm
You
going to
got
hide my disappointment.
Well, you're not hiding it very well.
Well, no, that's true. I always wear my heart on my sleeve, Dave.
Yeah. Part of the arrangement of hiding your feelings is. Yeah.
All right. Come on, boys. There's some Eagles on the line here. We can do it.
Okay, right. Oh, you donkey. Get away from that tree. Well, it's not a bad line in, actually, from there. If there's anything, any positive note about that shot. That looks a better line, is it? Is it?
Stay on. Yep, should be okay.
Yeah. So,
How far away, Dave, do you reckon it is from, you three put on your virtual reality glasses and you're hitting the ball and you're actually walking down the fairway, light summer breeze and all that sort of stuff. Total immersion.
A little way off, but it'd be cool.
Would be.
Yeah, the trouble is no one has found a way to make money out of virtual reality yet. There's been no killer application, so to speak, or killer game that's really inspired everyone to go out and buy VR.
Yeah.
It's going to take something that makes big money, and it'll probably be a combination of VR and AI.
They've got to find something that's truly addictive.
Yeah, and they'll throw money at it until they do. They'll hire the evil psychologists, the same one that designed poker machines and all that sort of stuff, and they'll come up with something.
Yeah.
Oh, I like this one. Be right. Bound.
oh, it's right on the money. It is on the money. Oh, look at this.
It's a beauty.
Well, you're on form tonight, Dave. I'm beginning to wish I'd stiffened the challenge a bit. Yes, memo to myself: don't give Mr. Mackey such an easy ride on Thursday and/or Friday.
Or just airmail me a case of your homebrew and instruct me to start drinking at 1 in the afternoon, Andy. That should do it.
That looks pretty good if it gets the bounce. It
Oh,
is.
it's gorgeous.
Not as nice as yours, Dave.
Well, they're two great shots, Dave. That's all I'd say.
Right, 58. Oh, that's a woody. Hmm.
Interesting.
Do you want an eagle?
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, it only had half a roll left on it.
That's all it needed.
Oh.
It's a birdie.
Yeah.
It's been a quality game. This course is not trivial. And so it should be, yeah. Should be.
Well done.
Very good.
Just.
Yeah, it's a hard score when you get a birdie and you fall.
The stroke. That is tough.
It's more convincing.
Waters at the left.
You say it without laughing.
I was laughing with Andy, not at him. Like, cut the corner. Don't want to go any tighter than that.
Shot.
Yeah, very good. Oh no. Pulled it. Goodbye. Bounce off those rocks. Oh.
It didn't miss the Mo March.
Ah.
It could have happened.
That would have been the mother of all disgraces, that.
Yes, it would have been, wouldn't it?
And it would have got called very quickly, wouldn't it?
Oh, come on. Bit of fairway.
I thought you'd found a bit of fairway before.
Maybe. It's just a little bit up there.
Yeah, another one after this. Is that not fairway?
No. 7. Oh, just keep going. 13%, 17%. God. Whatever.
Go on, get on the fairway. Oh,
Close.
I would have taken it.
You wouldn't have even got the disgrace call because it was close to the fairway to start.
Yeah. What I was acutely aware of was doing the same thing that Dave just did. And that would have been it as far as I'm concerned. Came out very low, didn't it?
20% power loss.
And of course,
Really?
got on just to stuff you up.
Well, let's see. Fortunately, I'm only 6. Okay, well, it's not close, but well, I think you've got a chance to really stamp your trotters all over this game, Dave.
Well, I like the thought of that, Andy. My big fear here is getting backspin off this unwanted backspin. My big issue. I'm gonna chop the 120. See if I can finesse it up there without too much backspin. No, I've pulled it left. It's down the swale. Okay.
That's going to give you a putt as well.
Well, there's some fun putts coming up.
Yeah.
It's all sorts of entertainment.
I mean, that plateau looks as though if you'd have found that plateau, you'd have been faced with a flat, straight putt.
Yeah.
The fact is, nobody's. We've got to get onto the bloody thing.
We all saw it, but we couldn't execute.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably going to be good enough, though, even from 9 feet.
Yeah. So, the question is, what line to take for this damn? Oh, this is so awkward because the early part of the putt is going to sling it hard left to right. Then it goes flat once it gets the 29-foot mark. So, got to allow for the sling, and then the flatness, and then stop it. It's 11 feet up, 11 inches uphill, so maybe a little. I think there. Might be flat.
Yeah, I think it is.
I think it's one of these things. Once you've reached the proximity of the hole, he's pretty forgiving.
Well, given what a bastard of a hole it is, it should be like that.
Good parts.
Oh, that wasn't a great putt.
Outrageous, Andy.
It was outrageous.
Fantastic.
Oh, damn it, Dave. You got me in busted. And a bit.
Well, on the bright side for you, at least Andy is sticking it to me and staying with me.
Yes.
I'm trying my very hardest, Dave.
Well, there's plenty of time for a change of lead. Bill, have you been paying much attention to the English election that's coming up soon?
A little bit. It just seems like Tories are in disarray, and they're hoping for not a total wipeout. That what's his name, Nigel Farage? He seems like a piece of work.
Yeah.
And he's having a dip. Seems to be a lot of right-wing stuff going on in Europe and America, everywhere actually.
Yeah, it's all reaction to refugees and people that have terrible times just trying to stay alive.
Yeah.
But no one wants it to happen in their backyard. But the little tidbit of information I had was that I looked at the betting for the election.
Yeah.
And the Tories, you can get 125 to 1 in effectively a 3-horse race.
Wow, that's pretty good odds.
The incumbent party is 125 to 1. It seems unbelievable.
That is pretty incredible, isn't it? But that money talks, so it makes you realise that it's as bad as the reports.
Oh!
Ooh.
He went in the hole.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It really is. And Macron got his ass handed to him on a plate today as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, well, and I just read up how how the French elections work. It's an interesting system. So it all goes into the second round now, and basically it's up to Macron's party, the middle, and the left to agree that whoever came third in the three-way contests pulls out and asks the voters to vote for the other one, so that the National Front doesn't get in.
Yeah, there's just going to be a whole bunch of horse trading done behind closed doors, and then
It's
yeah.
it's like tactical voting on a national scale, really,
But
isn't it?
when I read it, though, the sort of wild card is, voters are not necessarily, they've done this, they've held their noses, as it said in the past, and voted for a party that they didn't like in order to not get another party that they disliked even more in. But people are getting a bit over doing that sort of thing. So,
Yeah.
it
The way
So,
that-
so is what you're saying that in France they may actually be voting for the personality of the head of the snake, as it were, instead of what the snake is actually standing for, possibly.
No, not really. It's in the first round of voting. If you get over 50%, that's it, you're elected. But no one got that. So the National Front got about 34%. I think the left wing has got about 28%, and Macron got about 22%. So what happens now is that they just vote again, and whoever gets the biggest percentage wins, and it doesn't matter if it's so. If all three run again, then the National Front will win based on those results. So what the middle party on 28, the left wing is on 28%, Macron on 22%. They have to agree that in the seats where either one of them was third, that they pull out and say to their voters, you vote for Macron now, or you vote for the left. But Macron's lot and the left don't particularly like each other that much. Macron's called them extremists. So they have to actually agree to do that. So, of course, 28% plus 22% will beat 34%. But, whether they do that and whether the voters go along with it, if you...
Well,
I think what I read was that the left-wingers are more likely to vote for the centrist party, Macron's party, but the Macron voters are less likely to vote for the left-wingers, who even Macron says are extremists. So it's going to be interesting. It's an interesting system. It's very, very different from Australia's system.
It is, but if I was the extremist party who got 28% and Macron got 22%, and Macron's coming to me saying, "Oh, I need you to drop out so I can win," I'd be saying, "Sod off! We got 28, you got 22, you drop out."
Well, I mean, but that's the overall percentages. It'll vary from seat to seat.
Of course, but I have
So-
a feeling they might drag themselves down through bickering. This is my point, Phil. That neither side is going to be able to make themselves concede because they've just got so much ego.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're the third, it's hard. It would be hard in any individual seat for you to say, well, we came third, but we reckon you, the party that came second, should pull out so that we can win. So, that, as you say, it might get down to that, but it seems like a hard thing to argue. But and I guess the sort of longer term agreement in that is that if needs be, we'll also combine forces and do a coalition government. So be a bit like Labor and the Greens here. That you got the Greens are kind of slightly crazy.
Yeah, I agree. But in this case, I just have a feeling it's going to be never let common sense get in the way of a good principle.
Yeah, well, and sometimes it's just time, when, I mean, the biggest thing in the article was that the French voters are getting a bit sick of being asked to vote for people they don't like in order for the National Front to not get in. So they might just say, you know what, I'm just going to vote how I feel, and however the cards fall is however they fall. I don't know, who knows? But it looks like there's a wave, isn't there? There's a right-wing wave covering the world, basically. The US, if Trump gets in, and with the latest on Biden, that's starting to look quite a lot more likely.
Yeah, it's not dissimilar to the lead up to World War II.
Yeah. Look, it really has echoes, doesn't it? Where people thought. I read an article a little while ago from a guy, and he said this is the biggest comparison between Trump and Hitler. Was that it was a quote from Hitler, and it was in like 19. It was. I think it was in the 1920s. So it was when he was still, very minor in terms of votes and everything, but well publicized. Everyone thought he was crazy, but he just said, "I don't care. People can laugh at us all they like. They can laugh about us. They can be angry. They can cry. They can scream. They can do all this stuff. I don't care as long as they're talking about us. That's the main thing." And that's a direct comparison with Trump just there. That even more so if you think he's crazy, people tend to talk about him. So, but it's kind of I think we equally know that he's as much a danger to democracy as Hitler. I don't think he has the murderous intent necessarily of Hitler, but he can do as much damage to democracy. I don't think he's going to declare war on the rest of the world. You never know. But also, what I hate about Trump is he encourages the bloody dictators, and he criticizes all the Democrats around the world. That's the
Isn't it amazing how he's twisted the whole rhetoric from everything that the Republicans stood for is against the commies, that is Russia, and now they like Russia.
Yeah.
Really bizarre.
Oh, it's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, and yet they still don't want health. They don't want poor people to get free health because that's communism.
Yeah. That whole part of America where you help the workers out at all, and it doesn't make you slightly more like Canada or Australia or the UK. It immediately turns you into North Korea.
Yeah, you get called socialist or
it's
just get called.
Sort of like you don't. It's like it's all a matter of proportion, isn't it? It's like they're 1 inch, but I mean, what's happened in America is that they used to have post-depression. There were a lot of controls, government controls that were in place to make sure, companies didn't get too carried away and go down that route again. And a lot of that was done away with by Reagan first, and then by Clinton. They got rid of all the, a lot of the banking and financial controls that had been put in place.
Yeah, ironically, Clinton.
So all that, all those controls that were in place, and Americans don't recognise that. They just think, they don't say, "Oh, we've got even more and more and more free market to the point where it's not even fair for workers anymore." They just say, "No, we'll keep creeping in that direction, and anything in the other direction to help workers is blatant communism." So maybe it's Karl Marx will have his day after all. They say these days something like 40% of Americans, this was before the last election, under 25, something like 38 or 40% identified themselves as socialists. So that's remarkable, because over there socialist is almost quite self with communist, isn't it? So that's a pretty radical shift.
It's a big insult to say that.
By the way, with the Olympics coming up, it's worth talking about Karl Marx, because he's super famous, very well known author and philosopher, but his sister Anya isn't famous at all, and she's starting pistol.
That's so harsh, Dave.
It is.
It was brutal. Yeah, continue. Sorry, Phil. Just had to comfort Dave.
It was a hilarious joke, and the timing of the punchline was just the worst ever, and I'm not going to repeat it.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. No, the game holds precedence.
Not as sorry as Dave is for that backspin.
Yeah.
And now Andy's going to get it. No, he's
No,
not.
he's not.
What a genius.
I don't even know how I got the backspin. It was so much a flopped 105, and it just seemed to land
Well,
soft and everything was harsh. In a second, Andy's going to be fucking busted.
Oh, no. Bye.
You
Well,
need
cl-
backspin.
Oh, no. Another super greasy one. 29 inches downhill. No. How am I even going to stop this? Oh, my God.
Well, it's just one added thing for everybody's benefit, but particularly Phil, you might be interested in this. We've got 3 days to go before the election, and a letter's gone in from I don't know who the letter's gone to, but 30 or 40 economists are now saying that all the main parties, Labour and the Lib Dems, basically their spending plans, they're basically hiding the fact that they're all going to either have to increase taxes way beyond what they've already indicated they're going to do, and or they're going to have to cut public spending way more than they've already indicated.
Shit.
But of course, the parties are all in total denial that everything will be all right because we're going to grow our way out of the problem.
No! Fucking Christ.
Well, I mean, how are they going to cut services when the austerity program for the last 15 years has basically kneecapped your country, Andy?
Well, you say that, Dave, but I think there's an awful lot of, it's a word which is any kind of cut in real terms to public services, which there have been, is automatically branded by the other side as austerity. And I'm very fortunate that I haven't really felt the big impact of austerity at all. So we were just sort of reading and also tie in with that cost of living and all this type of thing. And I just don't see, that impact on my life, even though in the last 5 years, the wages I've had coming in, because I haven't gained a state pension, we've been classified as living in poverty because of the wage coming in. But it hasn't felt like that at all. I've just had to be really careful, or we've had to be really careful on how we used our money. So I just don't know. I mean, basically, I think the parties, they're all sort of in denial about the scale of the problems they're going to have in the next 5 years.
Yeah, it's interesting, like you talking about your own personal experience of it, because it just shows it's something that you hear a lot of in politics everywhere around the world, that there's this every move that's done by a government is turned into catastrophe by the opposition, and they just blow it out of all proportion, rather than just a normal function of government, that sometimes spending goes up a bit, sometimes it goes down a bit. It doesn't mean, over here we had the debt and deficit disaster, that the Conservatives said nothing but debt and deficit disaster. Those 4 words for about 3 years running. It was a nightmare. And then at the end of it, suddenly as soon as they were elected, there was pretty much no debt and deficit to worry about. And they went off and spent all this stuff. But yeah, it's just that it's the language of politics which I find. I think over my
I,
lifetime, I've noticed the change. You used to have oppositions who would say things like, that's actually a good policy, and they'd go along with it and they'd vote for it in Parliament. They wouldn't get elected for 20 years, but they were honourable people who were there to further the interests of the country, and that meant more to them than actually being in power. Whereas now, it's just the oppositions, they just plot to get into power. I noticed in Australia, one of the things that happened, just by way of example, is that they just sort of semi-banned vapes. But the thing was that they didn't ban them. They had the government had to do some special deal with the Greens, and the Greens didn't want them banned, and so now pharmacists are in the position where they're going to have to be like selling vapes over the counter, and the pharmacists are saying, "This is not our job. We're going to be selling tobacco products. What's wrong with you?" That's not our role, is it? But that was because of the deal that they had to do with the Greens. But the thing about it is that the opposition Conservatives, the thing is about that whole situation is that they actually agreed with what the government had proposed to do, but there was no political capital, no political gain in it for them to say, yeah, we'll vote along with you on that. That's good for the country. That's what we believe in. They're all getting paid 200 to 300 grand a year in opposition, and they are meant to be voting. They are parliamentarians. They're meant to be voting on matters that are good for the country. But instead, they don't take that view. They take the view that all they're doing is plotting to get back into government. And so on that particular matter, they said, even though we agree with it, there's no gain in it for us, and we can cause problem for the government by them having to get in with the Greens and have a bit of a cockeyed policy. So that's what we're going to go for. That's what we're going to do with our $200,000 to $300,000 salary per year. Is just do stuff to plot getting power again, by whatever means. And that whole aspect of politics, I just find sickening. Sorry, that's a rant.
No, it's not. I mean, I'm with having experienced nearly 5 and a bit weeks of everybody saying basically the same thing. Fully funded, fully costed is a load of absolute horse manure. It really is. And
I take it you've been hearing that exact expression non-stop. Have you fully funded, fully costed?
fully funded, fully costed.
Over
I mean,
and over
it's
again. Like we're all such imbeciles. We can't take in more than a 5-word phrase over 4 weeks. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
no. It's a particular favourite phrase of Labour, but actually all the other parties have used the yes, we fully funded it. It's but it's funny it was Starmer. He gets whenever he says it, he says fully funded, fully costed, and it's said at a slightly quicker tempo than everything else, as if he thinks that if I just say it quickly, people may not notice what I've actually said and hold me to account to it in years to come.
Yeah. Well, maybe the fully funded, fully costed. That's the 10% rise in taxes that they've got in the pipeline. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it sounds like the UK's finances are quite bad. If
Well, I remember before before COVID came along, there was a great outcry almost that the government debt had risen to £1 trillion. Okay, 1,000 billion.
Yeah.
It's now standing after all of this, 14 years of Tory rule. The government borrowing is now standing at about 3 trillion. So they've managed to treble.
Oh, you
the,
talk GFC, around the time the GFC, it was a trillion.
yeah, possibly. I'd have to look at it again.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's staggering just the amount of interest payments the
Yeah.
UK makes as part of its government spending plans.
But I think
Yeah.
the Victorian government debt's almost $1 trillion now, and that's just one state.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. They just went to absolute town on infrastructure, didn't they? They just like all the tunneling and
Well,
the
because they're all saying zero interest rates, spend up.
yeah,
Borrow,
well,
borrow what
yeah,
you can.
yeah. And at the time, it was like everyone in the world was like a rich person. There was no cost
Mm.
to having money, which is really drove the prices of stuff up. But yeah, of course, the downside is put up interest rates, and there's a bit of an issue. And in some ways, you wonder if all that expenditure to get into that amount of debt is actually contributing to the inflation that is the cause of the higher interest rates as well.
Possibly, and this is, we've got a knock-on effect in this country that we've lived for about, I would say, about 15 years of very low interest rates, where interest rates were, you could mortgages particularly were probably in the order of about 2 to 3%, something like that. And of course, now they're in the region of, I think, sort of 5 to 6%, something like that. So the interest on mortgages has basically doubled, easily doubled. And of course, people on, who've got sort of, I don't know, houses at the 300, 400,000 pound mark, who borrowed a lot of money when money was cheap, all of a sudden they've been finding in the last 2 years that their payments, if they're still obviously paying their house, are going through the bloody roof, and claiming, oh, this is austerity. Well, it's the law of unintended consequences.
It's funny too, because I, just talking to people at work in their, like 30s and stuff, they sort of became adults in this era where interest rates were virtually, like nothing. And now, inflation came along like a couple of years ago now, and they're going, "What's going on? What is inflation? Like, what's all this stuff, and why are rates go?" They just had, and I thought that's so weird because growing up in the sort of 70s and 80s, you had runaway inflation, and you had big interest rates, and you definitely knew what inflation was and what it meant for interest rates. But you've got that sort of generation in a decade where they were in their 20s and stuff and thinking about maybe getting their first loans and stuff. There was no cost to getting money, and so it became a shock when they woke up from that little blip in history that they lived through, where yes, ordinarily you pay for the cost of money. So bit of an eye opener, but it was like, just listening to it was like, wow, yeah, I guess you wouldn't have any concept of it because you didn't live through it and you didn't study economics, so why would you?
But they understand the concept of buying a lunch costs $20 now instead of 10, just 5 years later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, great inflation, but yeah, just like with a big decision too, like buying property, where you go several $100,000 into the red, and you have your interest rates, and I guess they thought that's locked in, that's just what we pay.
Yeah.
So it became a shock that suddenly after a year of interest rate rises, when they were, they're now paying $1,000 more a month than they were. $1,000 has just basically disappeared from their income, which is a massive chunk.
Plus, jobs aren't reliable now. You don't have jobs for 20 or 30 years anymore.
Unless you're in the public service, I guess.
You're last man standing.
I joined the public service at the right time in my life. I was just sort of hanging out there in the breeze, sort of sailing close to the wind all my life with finances and everything, and just in the nick of time, I got a.
I do think my generation, the generation I was born into, I have had it easy because I haven't had particularly sort of well remunerated jobs, but I seem to have found myself, at the start of my retirement, sort of thinking, actually, for the little effort I put into my working life, I feel kind of lucky and privileged to be, living in a house that I love living in. Good shot.
Yeah.
And not. I mean, there were very few periods of my time of working, particularly where I thought, Christ, I just can't see how I'm going to get myself out of this stew. I mean, there were things I did which I didn't like doing, but I ended up doing them because I had to do something to pay the bills, type of thing.
Yeah.
And I suppose, I feel, like I say, quite lucky that I haven't had to sweat too much over some of the things that people now sweat about, having lived through an awful lot of changes.
I guess.
I was going to say maybe it's a case of having lived in the 70s, when certainly inflation was absolutely rampant in the UK. This was just before the Thatcher governments came in, and so I do have vivid memories of Black October, when interest rates went up to 15% one day. They went up from 10% to 15 in one fell swoop, just to try and calm the markets. Well, that didn't work.
That's imagine that. I mean, interest rates going up 5%. Like a lot of interest rates are not that much over 5% right now. So to go up that much in one hit is funny.
Yeah.
But look, I think we've all sort of lived through similar times, and I think it was our good fortune was that Thatcher and Reagan and that case, people like Howard, they'd only just got into power in the 80s, and it was at the start of their big neo-conservative projects where they were going to suppress wages for the next several decades. And so being at the start of that, means that the effect of it is less. But now, after 3-4 decades of suppressed wages, suppressed unions, suppressed workers' rights, this is where you end up. Of course, you've got a whole working and middle class who are less rich because wages have been suppressed, compound time. So, it's and the chickens come home to roost. The irony is that in this country, that the political party that was responsible for doing all of that are now saying, "Oh, vote for us, workers. We're the ones to go with because we don't like migrants." So, and a lot of working class people, I guess, are going for them as well. Little knowing. I mean, it's even in the recent record. Anytime wages come up and the minimum wage is discussed, they're always saying, "No, that's too much. Don't give them anything."
Well, I was shocked the other day to hear the average wage in Australia is $100,000 now.
Yeah, but it's not the mean.
No, well, it couldn't be.
It's not the mean, and the statistics are that the average is last time I heard it was 88, but 100's believable. But when it was 88, the average was 88, but the mean was 58.
If that.
So that means 50% of wage earners are earning 58,000 or less. So, and that's pretty accurate, I think.
Yeah, and the other big difference too, Phil, is yes, the wages have been suppressed for 30 years, but not only have the wages been suppressed, it's the housing market has been allowed to go runaway because that's a good thing for governments.
Oh,
And now, in the 80s when we bought houses,
Yeah.
it was 4 years' wages. Effective, like if you didn't have to pay for anything else, you could
Yeah.
pay off the house in 4 years. But now it's over 12 years.
yeah,
And when you combine that with the lower wages and with the less reliable jobs, it's like a perfect storm of impossibility for
yeah.
20
But
year
again,
olds.
it's well, there's a few things with it. I think one is that the Conservatives again, but Labor also, to their shame, have not spent. You should be spending and building social housing every single year.
Yeah.
And the Conservatives just stopped doing that altogether. The Labor did it in much smaller amounts, but the Conservatives have been in power much longer. They had 10 years under Howard from 96 to 2007, and then 2014 or 2013 to 2022. So of the last 25 years or something, they've been in power for 20 of them, and they've not built any social housing. And also, Howard, they've allowed capital gains tax concessions and also negative gearing. So that party has suppressed wages, not built any social housing, and made encouraged the value of properties to go up by tax policy. So again, it's a social storm, and again, it's that very same party that's saying to workers, "Vote for us. We're the ones."
Yeah.
And I'm just going, man. Like
John.
you don't need
Thanks,
too
Andy.
much memory to know.
Wow.
Time.
Gorgeous day.
Yeah. Blah blah blah. Sorry.
It's all right. But oh, bollocks. Oh, that's the worst possible spot. I'm trying to get a draw and I didn't get it. Come on, come down. Come down.
Oh.
Oh. Oh, look at that.
Wow. That looks challenging.
Yeah. Oh, God. Go on. Oh, no, I didn't hit the... I'm falling apart here, Dave. All you need is a birdie here, and all of a sudden you could have me busted as well.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
You're planting seeds in my head, Andy.
I just want you to go full belted at it,
Yeah.
Dave.
Go full Tonto, Dave.
What was the name of the show where there was a white guy with a gun and he had an Indian sidekick called Tonto?
Lone Ranger.
Lone Ranger, yes.
Kimo Sabi.
Kimo, yeah.
Did you know that Tonto, in the dialect of whatever country it comes from, means stupid? It was like the most racist name ever you could have for a sidekick.
Tonto.
But Tonto wasn't Tonto was he Mexican or was Tonto
Yeah, I
Indian?
think
He was Indian.
Tonto is Mexican for stupid. It's one of those countries.
But it's sort of like it's that old style slapstick humor, isn't it? Where someone punches someone in the face and they fall over and everyone laughs. It's almost that kind of thing. Three Stooges.
Like when the guy punched the horse out in Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, and Well, that was hilarious.
That was hilarious. Everyone laughed at the horse being knocked out. Yeah,
Yeah.
tough.
I did like Mel
The thing I loved about that movie was like it was having a crack at racism, but it was actually extremely racist.
The best line in that movie was I forget what the black actor's name was, but he had to sort of divert the bad cowboys who were coming after someone, and he said, "Okay, I'll divert them towards me," in not so many words. But then when they saw him, his line to get their attention and have them chase him was, "Hey, where's all the white women at?" Like, that was the funniest thing in that whole movie. But like that was the movie with the baked beans scene as well, you know.
It
So
was.
I thought that was hilarious. That all the cowboys had baked beans and spent the whole night farting. Quality humour. I do like Mel Brooks, but I don't think that was one of his highlights.
It had flashes of brilliance, that movie, I think.
Yeah.
They were just flashes.
Yeah, for me, his best piece of work was Get Smart.
Oh yeah.
Well, the Mel Brooks film that I still has me in stitch is Young Frankenstein.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
Especially his portrayal of Gene Hackman was playing the blind hermit. A monster sort of strolls into his cottage, sort of banging about, and Gene Hackman's feeling him, and he said, "Oh, you're a big, strong boy, aren't you?"
That was comedy gold, that scene.
Would you like something to drink? And oh yeah, he bloody smashes. And then he ends up, would you like something to eat? You know, you must be hungry. And then he tips some soup all over his lap. And
I vaguely remember seeing that because at our school we had the film club, and it was Friday afternoon at about 3:00, and most people, you had to stay for half an hour and then, you know, shoot through. Most people would shoot through at 3:30, but I think Young Frankenstein were the very few that everyone actually stayed and watched. Yeah, it was a good one.
Was a classic. And Frankenstein himself, I remember he used to make that noise. It was almost the bull noise.
There hasn't been much bull noises tonight, unbelievably.
oh, and he also gave him a cigar. Would you like a nice cigar? And then he lit his thumb or something like that. So that immediately gave out another.
Yeah, he made the bull noise then.
Tremendous fun.
And Frankenstein went on to be Raymond's dad, and everyone loves Raymond.
Oh, really?
Oh yes. Frank Barone.
That
character.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Not so young there.
Oh, baby. On the tiger line, but I think I've pushed it too far.
But it's maybe not a bad place to put it.
It's always our consolation line, isn't it?
So, I guess then next time we speak, Andy, you'll be under the cot,
I'll be under the yoke of a
kiss. I was searching for the word of a socialist government.
Well, we shall. I must between now and Thursday, Dave. And I'll copy you in as well. You can send it if you send it on to Phil. What my predictions of what what will happen, which has not been forecast so far. Uh, Things that won't work for them and what will work for them, conversely. Um, but
Oh,
I
should we
think
put these predictions aside for 5 years, Andy, like a time capsule, and look at them then?
yeah, you can do that. That would be a good thing to do.
Maybe
Um,
maybe we should all do that. We'll come up with a range of questions, and we'll
I think, yeah, I think there has to be two sets of answers. One if Trump gets elected, and one if
oh
It's not
wow,
if
yeah.
Trump gets elected,
it's
you just have one answer. Kiss your ass.
it's a real crossroads moment, I suspect, or a real fork in the road. Because I just can't see anyone being as if he's not elected and people, yeah, he's a loser, get rid of him and forget about all the nonsense he talks about, and throw him in jail. Basically, that'll happen too. Ultimately, if he's not elected, and I think he knows that too. He probably wants to get elected mostly for that reason than anything else. Um, or if he's elected, God knows what's going to happen.
The most disturbing thing that I've seen in the last 6 months is, when he had that meeting and there's all these senators there and they start clapping and they keep
Like
clapping after he leaves the room for
as if it
5
was
minutes. Like it's
as if it was North Korea, right?
exactly. It was like if that's how it's going to be when he gets to be president, it's all over.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
But
and he's well organised this time. He's got plans and he knows how to use the levers of power. It'll kick off on day one.
Well,
but
Dave's been investigating how much he's been organising all these, people to step in and take over.
Oh, Project 2025 says it all. 800
Yeah.
page document that details what they're going to do. And it's horrifying to say the least.
So is this their document, Dave? And
This is the document that's come from the Federation Society, or whatever they call themselves, which is like a
Okay.
Trump think tank.
Yeah.
And it's a nightmare.
That's a bit of an oxymoron, isn't
Indeed.
Well, someone has to think for him, so it actually makes sense.
what's going on here? No. I've got to. Don't want to. No. Come on. Go
That's
on.
a good
Good
shot.
job. It's ended any possibility of a double busted, so you've done your job. That was a greasy little shot for sure.
Yeah, there was a point there in that round, Dave, where I had a very makeable putt for a birdie, and I went for it a little bit too enthusiastically, and then missed the return putt. So that was a bogey to your birdie, I think, on the same hole.
Yeah, but for
It was a Turner.
Oz.
Is it? Is it?
Oh, it is.
Yes.
It is.
Done, Dave.
Got Dave in for next week.
Well, it's 2 birdies to finish off what was a very ordinary round.
Nice finish.
Well, you've had the kind of finish that I would have given my right arm for.
As long as it wasn't your right ball.
369.
Yeah, look at that. -3 is not so bad, but yeah, good goal.
Yeah, I had a
There
shocking
are
run
some-
in the middle there, but
Yeah.
Yeah, but for that though, there's nothing much in it. Yeah, it was all fine until that.
Oof, bit of colour there.
Yeah, look at that start on the back nine. There was charging going on,
Yeah, there was a bit of charging.
and some reverse charging from Dave.
Yeah, correct.
63.
Still 34 with those 3 bogeys, not too bad.
Mm.
2 on the front as well. Shitload.
I think having no bogeys was all that got me over the line.
Oh,
Really.
you had none, Dave? Oh, wow. And 2 eagles. Fantastic. Oh, good win. Really good win.
I better get some stats out of this, or I'll be annoyed.
No stats.